So, you're thinking about two-up touring on the mighty Royal Enfield Himalayan. Are you mad? Some reviews would have you think so. However, we rode a Himalayan for 3 weeks of two-up touring around Rajasthan in India and absolutely loved both India and, more importantly for this video, the Royal Enfield Himalayan. We do have a slight disclaimer though. We only had a single 30-litre duffel bag for luggage, which was more than enough for us. If you're thinking about carrying camping gear and more luggage than that, you will no doubt have a different experience with the Himalayan than we did. Was a Himalayan our first choice? Admittedly, we would have loved to have toured India on a BMW GS. However, it's a bit expensive. So, we went for the Himalayan. But also, I was strangely attracted to the notion of travelling around India on an iconic Indian motorcycle. Yes, go on, hate me, you British Royal Enfield purists. The Himalayan was hardly the Indian classic, pun intended, that I had in mind, but it kept popping up in everything I was watching and reading about touring in India. So whilst the nostalgia of the Royal Enfield Bullet and Classic 350 tugged at the heartstrings, the Himalayan seemed to make more sense with its longer suspension travel and taller frame, etc. So the Himalayan it was. At around $16 per day rental, we thought it wasn't a bad deal either, particularly because the bike we ended up with only had 1,700 kilometres on the clock and was less than 6 months old. Sure, as with everything, we probably could have found a cheaper price somewhere, but hey, there's always a cheaper price somewhere, right? So after 2,400 kilometres on the Himalayan, we have some clear views on the pros and cons of two-up touring with it, well, in India at least. First, let's talk about the things we didn't like about the Royal Enfield Himalayan for two-up touring. One, this is rather shallow, I know, but I don't like the way the Himalayan looks, especially with a rider on it. Anyway, each to their own. And it's purely aesthetics. Right, next, number 2, soft suspension. The bike is reasonably tall to initially get a leg over, but then as soon as your butt hits the seat, it sinks down a lot. I would have preferred slightly stiffer suspension, particularly at the front. Having said that, if I lost a bit of weight, it would minimize this issue, right? Right? I keep trying to convince myself. Number 3, the tripper navigation system. Whilst it works okay on the highways, it gets mighty confused quickly in the city. For those that don't know, the tripper navigation is a small round, what looks like a dial on the instrument cluster, but it's a colour screen that connects with the Royal Enfield app on your phone and displays navigation, based loosely, I think, on Google Maps. Anyway, not a fan. Number 4, the digital compass seems to have a mind of its own. Number 5, the effing trip meters. Yeah, so there's 3 trip meters, trip A, trip B, and trip F. I think there might be a C as well, but anyway. The F trip meter confused the hell out of me. I've since found out that it has something to do with the incorporated reserve fuel system. Regardless of what I did, I couldn't get the trip meter to stay on either trip A or B. I'm sure with a bit of searching on the internet, I would have solved the issue, but hey, too lazy for that. Right, lastly in the list of things we didn't like about the Royal Enfield Himalayan, the seat. Oh, my butt still gets sore thinking about it. I assume an aftermarket touring seat would solve the issue, or perhaps sitting on a pillow. Not a big deal, but a sore butt after the first hour of riding was the norm for both rider and pillion. So yeah, if I was to buy a Himalayan, we'd be adding a touring seat of some description. But anyway, not a big deal. Now, would any of these things stop me from buying a Himalayan for two-up touring? Probably not. We still think it's a great bike, and it worked fantastically well in India and is well suited to the roads and the type of terrain we were touring through. Not so sure if it would be great on the Autobahn in Europe. Now for the things we loved about the Royal Enfield Himalayan for tour-up touring. Number 1, the riding position. Aside from the occasional need for a leg stretch, the riding position was mighty comfortable for me. I'm 6'2". I'm sure a BMW GS, of course, would blitz this in the riding position and comfort stakes. However, for us and in India, I certainly can't complain about the Himalaya's riding position. Yeah, it was great. Likewise, the pillion position was great, being up a bit higher and having well-positioned foot pegs. Right, number 2, analog gauges and the lack of rider aids apart from ABS. No riding modes, no TFT screen. Big plus in our opinion. Simple, clear instruments, no mucking around with buttons and modes or anything else. Just a simple motorcycle. Big plus in my opinion. Number 3, a built-in luggage rack on the back. Despite its small size and its limited load carrying capacity, we loved having the simple rack on the back that allowed us to easily strap our 30-litre duffel bag on. No panniers for us, just a single 30-litre duffel bag across behind the pillion passenger. Worked great for us, not for everyone, but yeah, as I say, for us, perfect. Number 4, size. Sure, perhaps bigger is better on the highways. However, we found the Himalayan to be the perfect compromise between being big enough for the highways and small enough for the back streets in Indian cities. It managed to go everywhere we asked it to go in the cities and went effortlessly down alleyways that big adventure bikes simply would not be able to go down. That made exploring the cities a lot of fun. So yeah, size. We thought it was perfect. Number 5, and last, ease of riding. The Himalayan is exceptionally easy to ride. Highways are no problem, at least at Indian speeds. It could sit on 100 kilometers per hour all day. Not much faster than that though. So overall, is the Himalayan suitable for tour-up touring? We think so, at least in India with minimal luggage. We were so impressed that we will be back in India next year to sit on a Himalayan for a 4-week trip in the Himalayas. Tour-up touring on the Himalayan is a big hell yeah from us.